What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas. I am your host, as I have been for 4.5 years. And it's really quite beautiful. We've got a really fun show tonight. You know, we've been around for a few years now, so we have like these annual events. International Peace Day is an annual event now. And another one is Celebrating Humanity's Team. And so every year we celebrate their big event, which is coming up, and you're going to hear all about it tonight. And tonight is a very interesting show because we've got some amazing guests, but they all are pre-recorded because they're all very busy people. But we are going to hear from Gregg Braden, Neale Donald Walsch, Trude Kerr-Van, and about 8 or 9 other amazing people, including our very own Connie Baxter Marlowe, all of whom are part of Humanity's Team. And so it's exciting. We also have Fanny and Vigari with us. Now they're live, and we're going to have live music from them. And of course, I should show them as I talk about that. There they are. Those gorgeous couple that we love so much. Welcome back, Fanny and Vigari. It's so good to have you with us. And thank goodness, as always, our house musical artist, Omashar, ready to get us rocking and rolling.
Well, yeah, I think we're going to go deeper tonight, rocking and rolling, maybe ebbing and flowing. And I'm really excited. Some of the people who are guested tonight, I've been playing at events over the past few years. And so it's wonderful to see them at the top of the, I don't know what, top of the red carpet, whatever you want to call that. So this song is called Earth and Star. And we are Earth and Star. Here we go. Beloved one, please hold me in your arms, supporting me, 'cause we have traveled so far. George Noble needs to be let in. Earth and Star, we are Earth and Star, we are.
the one desire unfolding, the one true love evolving, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star, we are earth and star, we are, and we feel it deep within. We know it in our hearts. We can bear the pain of separation no more. So come on, come and join us. Here's a taste of what will come when you let go, give in to the one. The Sacred Heart is pulsing, radiant light, revealing, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star, we are earth and star, we are. Innocent child returning, pure and clear, emerging, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star, we are earth and star, we are, and we feel it deep within. We know it's in our hearts. We can bear the pain of separation no more. So come on, come and join us. Here's a taste of what will come when you let go, give in to the one. When you let go, give in to the one. We are earth and star, 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 we are. And we have traveled so far.
Ooh, all right. That's a good one, Omashar. That is a good one. It's a good one for tonight, too, because we're going to be hearing a lot about Earth and stars and tonight.
It just fully caught itself in, and I think I saw Charlotte and Jerry and
Absolutely. Look at this.
together. What a dream team right there. Hey guys,
The three of you all together. How awesome.
it's good to see your kitchen instead of your normal background, Jerry. Cup of tea, please.
That's true. That's true. Are you in Pennsylvania? Yes.
Yes, we're in Pennsylvania.
Charlotte, you get around. I got to say, It's pretty cool how you get around. Well, let's all twinkle, beloved Omashar. Excuse me. And a reminder that you can get all things Omashar by going to his website, which is omashar.com, his name. And we always want to scroll down, go to bed, Camp. Excuse me.
You're best.
If I die, make sure that somebody feeds my dog tonight.
I will. I'll become instant host, so it's all good, Scott. We have a couple of mediums tonight. We'll get through to you.
I need you to take over for a second, actually.
All right. Okay, I will. I'm going to mute you. Scott is muted, and I will say, okay, Bandcamp, buy my albums on Bandcamp, and if you've already got them, buy them again, because, you know, I like the money. It really helps. And one of these days, there'll be 2 more albums in there. I have one already recorded and one in process. So that is my excuse for now. And I think I've bought Scott enough time just to get his vocal cords on. That's what happens when you eat Vindaloo whilst you're having a hosting, brother.
This is true. That's true. That's exactly what happened. Hey, welcome, everybody. Okay. So we have a great co-host, and that's Steve Farrell. He is the founder of Humanities Team. You've seen him on the show before. And he is my co-host by pre-recorded video. So let's take a look at what Steve has to say. Here he is, Steve Farrell, our co-host, in a pre-recorded kind of a way. And Steve, of course, is the man who's really put this all together. Steve, let's go back to the beginning. How did this all start for you?
Well, Scott, first of all, thanks for having me, here to talk about the Global Oneness Summit, and just delighted to be here. So, Humanities Team was launched actually over 21 years ago in June 2003 in Wilsonville, Oregon. And it was Neil Donald Walsh and myself, and actually some others too, launched Humanities Team so many years ago. Back then, we talked about awakening the world to oneness. It's essentially the same thing. We call it now making conscious living pervasive worldwide. Conscious living, conscious of what? of our oneness, right? Of the joy, of love, of laughter, of a sustainable planet, all of these things. So we decided shortly after we were launched that we were going to become an educational nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit. And as you know, we then started with the Global Oneness Summit. It's an annual event, which we'll be talking about here today, and also master classes, transformational education programs. And we created a streaming platform about 5 years ago, and realized this year, actually, without even trying, as we looked at our library, that we actually have the largest library for consciousness streaming master classes and transformational education. You've got big organizations like Gaia that isn't in education. They have lots of programs, and others, Mind Valley, that actually is in lots of things. But in terms of education, just for consciousness raising, master classes and transformational education, that's what we do. And that, as a nonprofit, that's why we came into the space, because, of course, Conversations with God's got all of these beautiful messages, right, of oneness and living this life that is a beautiful, exquisite life. And so when we launched Humanities Team, the idea, Scott, was really, let's support people on the conscious journey, which is, of course, what you do with Global Peace Tribe. Is it's supporting people on this journey where we live an exquisite life. And love is really at its basis. Oneness is its other foundational features. So the Global Oneness Summit is all about oneness. It's this year is our 15th year broadcasting the Global Oneness Summit. And as you know, we have a whole project now there in New York City working with the United Nations to get the Global Oneness Summit on the United Nations event calendar, like the International Day of Peace or Earth Day. And we are very confident that it will happen. We're working to make that happen now.
That's really exciting. That is really exciting. And isn't it interesting? We do have similar situation. I've done over 600 shows now through Global Peace Tribe. And you've got, the largest catalog of consciousness raising. Isn't it interesting hearing from so many different people essentially the same message, just told through different filters and lenses?
Right. Yeah. Well, this is actually a demonstration of the oneness because there's one, right? One source, right? A universal consciousness animating all of life. Very different, we could, a unified field, a oneness that is the divine, right? Lots of different ways of framing this. But if indeed there's one source, that would make sense, wouldn't it? That, oh, Global Peace Tribe, oh, Humanities Team, oh, Global Oneness Day, we all sort of get this download of what this whole consciousness raising thing is, and we go right to our station in life and create these beautiful expressions.
It's really exciting. So tell the audience a little bit about how they can tune into the Global Oneness Summit. Let's do that right now.
Yeah, well, boy, the Global Oneness Summit, first of all, thank you to probably lots of viewers have participated over the years. This is our 15th year. It started, in 2010 when we went to the United Nations with our 52,000 signatures, and we asked the United Nations to create and lead this Global Oneness Day, and they just threw it right back at us. It actually was Ambassador Anmol Chowdhury, and said, this is very important, because nothing's going to happen until there's a sense of solidarity, right, which is oneness. And so he said, you guys go create Global Oneness Day, get it going, and then come back, and then let's get it on the UN calendar. That's exactly what has happened. And viewers watching now, probably many of them have participated in these over the 15 years. Started out as just an audio broadcast, 1,000 people, phone line. And then over the years went into Zoom as a one-day Global Oneness Day, a single day. And now it's a 6-day summit. It's free. It starts on the 20th of October and goes through October 24th. And we actually proceeded with on Friday, the 18th of October, which is, coming up. We're giving our Spiritual Leadership Award to Suzanne Giesemann, who was part of the Global Oneness Summit this year. And I'm sure friends here with Global Peace Tribe as well.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And I think this is the 4th year that we've done a collaboration with you guys to promote it. So it's kind of in our world, now we just did our 5th time of promoting International Peace Week and International One, so it's kind of fun, all these annual events, our annual events are no longer Christmas, New Year's, and Easter Day, but it's Global Oneness Summit Day, and it's our week now, and International Peace Day, and the 99 Days of Unity kickoff.
Yeah.
These are kind of our consciousness raising group holidays that we celebrate every year.
Right. And that's it. Exactly. That is consciousness raising, and you're right. That's a beautiful way to look at it. It's not like just Easter eggs and Santa Claus. It's bigger and more important than that. It's our higher self. It's this elevated consciousness where we come into this whole new, delicious, exquisite way of living where we understand it's about the we, we're interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. Our true self is the world around us. It's not this, we know when we're in this elevated consciousness thing that it's not just our body. In fact, we drop our body, when we go back to the non-physical realm, we get another body, right? That's the whole cycle of life. We know that when we're on the conscious journey. It's an entirely different way of living. And that's what makes it so delicious, is we understand that we're connected, we're in service to the world around us. Love becomes our basis, and all these beautiful things happen.
Steve, I'm got a question for you. Have you noticed that most of your audience are people that have all their lives felt that they were here for a purpose, or that there was going to be some significant worldwide shift in consciousness? Because that's what I find almost all of our audience members have always had some sort of a lifelong perception of that, or they had midway through their life some sort of an epiphany where they kind of woke up and remembered the meaning of their life, or that remembered that, oh no, it's just not about the job and the kids, but it's about contributing to a shift in humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the things we love to do, Scott, is interview people and ask them, tell us about your personal awakening story. What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? We all have our stories, just as you said, that brought us in, where we realized, oh my God, I'm not just like this body and it's a job and I'm going to sort of live to work, it's something other than that. And it's beautiful where you have the time to hear people share their personal story. I wish we had time here on the air because it's such a wonderful thing to do. But to viewers, as we're talking, remembering what that personal story was, that on-ramp to this whole conscious way of living, and that created this whole beautiful thing that is in blossom for all of us.
Well, I want to invite our people right now in the chat box. Share a little bit about your personal awakening story. It doesn't have to be the big long one, but just give us the headlines, and I'll read some of those a little bit later on. Steve, I'm eager to start showing some of these wonderful clips. Steve and Humanity's team have provided us with many, many segments to show. In fact, more than I'll be able to show tonight, so we'll maybe even do a part 2. And it's going to be really, really fun. So I think we're going to go right into those segments, and we'll come back to Steve in a little bit.
Fantastic.
Muted.
There we go. I would love for people to share their awakening stories. I know you all have one. So pop those into the chat box, and I'll read some of them because it's true. We've all had different awakening stories. My big awakening kind of came when I was 16 years old. And I took a certain substance for the very first time. That's a mind-expanding sort of a substance. You remember those days, don't you? Back when we were younger. And that's when I kind of woke up. So would love to hear people's stories. And I know you're all eager to hear Gregg Braden. I'm sorry to say Gregg's out with us in person. It is a pre-recorded video with Gregg and Steve, but I think you'll enjoy what he has to say. This is very recent. So here we go. Here's Gregg Braden and Steve Farrell.
There's a peer-reviewed journal came out in the 1990s, a Journal of Complementary and Alternative Medicine. And I didn't know I was going to say this, so I don't have the article with me, but from the top of my head, what it said is that the physical heart is coupled to a field of energy and information that is not bound by the classical laws of time and space. Now, what that means is that we can go through our lives every day and live as mundane beings, and there's not a thing wrong with that. But if we want to be exceptional in our lives, we are wired, biologically wired, and the heart is only one part of this, to access this field that underlies all existence. And in that field, we are not limited by the laws of physics as we know them. There's a part of us that is not limited in time and space. This is why our prayers are so powerful for our loved ones on the other side of the planet. So once again, we could go on and on with this, Steve, but there are many practical applications once we embrace the truth of our relationship to our own bodies and the field around us from an IT perspective, information technology. Then the question becomes who or what gave us this information technology? And that's another conversation. That's another Global Oneness panel. But what we know is that we are wired to access these extraordinary potentials. And we've had the ability, Steve, since the time the first of our kind mysteriously emerged on Earth 200,000 years ago. We can see our genome is the same today as it was then. It hasn't changed. We didn't grow these technologies slowly, gradually over time. We appeared with them fully intact, fully enabled. They've always been with us, and we're wired to exceed we are our normal expectations. We are wired to be successful and healthy and embrace the deep truth of what it means to love fearlessly in this world. That's what we're made to do.
Wow. So you've got a powerful call to action in here, Greg. I'm going to just summarize it as I hear it, which is we're living in this unified field. There's this wholeness, this oneness, this completeness, which is this world around us of which we are a part, this energetic, vibrational universe of which we are a part. And then you bring in this 4-minute mile and you say, now, so each of us has this incredible potential and power. Will we boldly go where others maybe haven't gone in this oneness, in this compassion, in this connection, in this love, in this service? Will we answer the call, so to speak? Because we know the light is, this is our moment, all of us that would consider ourselves light workers. Will we be in service to the world around us and really answer the call?
I want to encapsulate that maybe in a little bit different way. I didn't know that we were going to go exactly in this direction. I think the question that we can all ask ourselves is, do we love ourselves enough? Do we love ourselves enough to embrace the deep truth of what it means to be a human in this earth realm? And we don't have to answer that verbally for one another. The choices we make in our lives reflect the answer in the way we feel, the way we perceive ourselves. Do we love ourselves enough to accept what it means to be human and the responsibility that comes with that?
Yeah, boy, that's beautiful. And love ourselves. And that's of course what our work is about. This panel, the Global Oneness Summit. Oneness, of course, its basis, its essence is love. And it has to start with love for ourselves. And then we can bring love out into the world. So beautiful. What a beautiful way to frame it here. So Greg, let me go then to research on how individuals can direct their own biology. So let's just kind of go deeper in that direction.
Sure. Well, we've already laid the foundation for that very clearly. We actually began touching upon that, Steve. And I want to be really clear. These are all potentials that we have as individuals that some people may choose to awaken in their lives. Others, this may not seem to be the time or the place, and that's okay, because they still benefit. When we become the best version of ourselves in our lives and our world, others benefit from that. And we all have different life circumstances. We all know that we've got friends and loved ones who are just trying to get through the end of the day that is presented to them. They're not even thinking about the future. They are dealing with health issues. They're dealing with family issues. Many of them emotionally have been traumatized and are struggling to heal those traumas. So there is absolutely no judgment in anyone that chooses just to navigate with the tools that they came into this world with. For those that choose to become more, to become the best version of themselves and feel that inner calling. And I think this is really the key, Steve. It's not something you go out and do because somebody else told you to do it. It's when we are drawn to awaken this deep potential. And I think most people, at least in our
I'm muted. Not sure why that has paused. Let me just try moving it forward a little bit and see if that makes a difference. Well, I'm going to try closing it and reopening it, and hopefully that'll do the trick.
Yeah.
Search on how individuals can.
So there is absolutely no judgment in anyone that chooses just to navigate with the tools that they came into this world with. For those that choose to become more, to become the best version of themselves and feel that inner calling. And I think this is really the key, Steve. It's not something you go out and do because somebody else told you to do it. It's when we are drawn to awaken this deep potential. And I think most people, at least in our community, if they're honest, when you talk to them, they always feel, they say this, they feel like there's more to them than they've been led to believe, that there's something missing in the story. There's something missing in their relationship to the world. It's got to be about more than having a job, making money, and maybe finding some love and chocolate and rainbows in the world. Those are beautiful things. But many people, and especially now, Steve, we're living a time of extremes. And those extremes are pushing us to the very edge of who we believe we are and what we've been taught are our limitations. And as we find ourselves teetering on that edge, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically, mentally, spiritually, we have a choice. We either look deeper and say, there's something more to me, and there's something more to what's happening, and that's the calling. And when that calling happens, the conversations that we're having now, that's where they come into play. And for others that don't feel the calling, these conversations don't have the same meaning. However, living with friends and family, where that awakening is happening, people have told me it's contagious. It's kind of like the movie When Harry Met Sally. You know, people that awaken the best version of themselves, they're happier, they're healthier, their lives are more fulfilled. And others look around, they say, hey, I want what they're having. That was When Harry Met Sally. I want what she's having. And so often by example, simply living by example, our lives could be the catalyst to light up a potential or a possibility for someone that may not even be thinking along these lines. And I think that is important for us to recognize as well. For us as individuals, Steve, you know, the world is changing very, very quickly. And it's changing in ways, I think some ways are really beautiful and some ways are a little frightening. There is a movement right now, and policies are being enacted, laws are being implemented in an attempt to replace the gift of our humanness with technology, with machines, with computer chips in the brain. Artificial intelligence certainly is a big part of this. Chemicals in the blood that mimic our own natural biological functions, sensors under the skin, nanotransmitters moving through our circulatory system. These are all technologies that consciousness has developed, and they can be applied to help us. The underlying thinking in our time of extremes, there's a lot of fear, and the powers that be in their fear often implement these technologies not to help us, but to control. So when we begin to awaken to the potential of our own humanness, I think what we find, Steve, is there's less of a need and less of an urgency to reach outside of our bodies for technology, because we are the technology. What the science is showing is that all of those machines, everything that we're AI, lasers, internet, everything in the world around us, as sophisticated as it is modeled after the principles within the body. We already do what those technologies do, except we do it better. And Steve, can I take just a moment and give an example of that?
Yeah, please do.
This is important because I'm saying the words and people say, yeah, and they're taking notes. But you know that, I mean, scientists are really looking at this stuff. So here's a beautiful example. The Salk Institute and Stanford Research Center did an experiment comparing the human brain to a computer microprocessor. And we're all told, you know, the chips are the ultimate, you know, they're where everything is going. So I want to acknowledge, I have no problems. I respect technology. Computers are fast. They are efficient. Absolutely. No doubt, hands down, they are. Here's what they did. They took the synapses in the human brain where information flows between the neurons, and they equated each synapse to a transistor on a computer chip. And interestingly, the number of synapses in the human brain is very close to the number of transistors in our most advanced computer chips now. And then they began doing the math, the equivalence, and the bottom line. They found that the human brain is 100 million times more efficient than those chips are. And there's two reasons for this. One, a computer chip, definitely fast, definitely efficient, but a computer chip will always be limited in its performance by the stuff it's made of. So the atoms that make silicon, for example, those atoms are a fixed distance from one another. They're not going to get any closer. Information can only travel between those atoms at a certain speed. When we look at a human neuron, what's interesting is every time we think we reach the upper limit of a human neuron, scientists will push that neuron to a limit. And what they find, and this is what we do, is that we morph, we adapt to that limit, and then we open an entire new realm, a whole new dimension of potential. So the term is scalable. The hard technology of a computer chip is only scalable to a certain point, and then it tops out. What is the high end of a human neuron? The answer is we don't know, because every time we reach that, what we think is the top end, we morph, we adapt, and the cells shift to accommodate the new conditions, and they become something very, very different. That is a hallmark of an advanced, a highly advanced technology. Engineers would give anything to be able to engineer that into the robotics and into the intelligence that they're creating today, but they can't do it. So that's only one example. The same thing happens with the way that DNA works. Same thing happens with our immune response. We've had immune systems for 200,000 years, Steve. We have a 200,000 year track record of the human body dealing with what we call the programs of external contagions. We know our bodies know how to do these things and do them well if we give our bodies what they need to be the best version of themselves. And I think this is where we are right now. Do we love ourselves enough to give ourselves what we need so the body can do what the body knows how to do? And to answer that question, we have to live very differently than what commercial programming has led us to believe in terms of diet, what we feed ourselves, how we move in this world, the way we think about ourselves. One of the most significant nutrients, Steve, is emotion, and the way that we bathe ourselves with the field of emotion that either contracts in fear or expands in love. And those aren't metaphors. That there is real science behind that, showing how DNA responds to love, how DNA responds to fear, how the immune system responds to love, how the immune system responds to fear. So all this, and this is why I said in the very beginning, do we love ourselves enough to embrace what it means to be human and to accept the responsibility of our humanness? Because with so much power, there's a responsibility in terms of how we use that power in our lives.
Yeah, wow. So beautifully stated, Greg. And well, let me just share a few things. One, for people that don't know, Greg and Bruce Lipton and Lynn McTaggart and the Humanities team created a masterclass called Technology, Consciousness, and Evolution. And then we created an enhanced version of that really goes deep on this topic. It's part of the Humanities streaming platform. But I also want to share, as I was listening to you, Greg, I mean, just so much depth there. You know, I was thinking of just, where we just breathe into, just to make it simple, breathe into the field or this source energy that of which we are a part, this sacred, this love for ourselves, love for the world, where we just breathe into that, knowing there's no upper limit, because that's what you kept coming back to as you were even going into the Stanford research. No upper limit, just unbelievable potential and application. So thank you for that. That was extraordinary.
Steve, the point, you're welcome. And I appreciate what you're saying here. The point is, in this particular panel, is I'm inviting people, and I want people to have a reason to think of themselves maybe a little differently than they've been led to think of themselves in the past, as we're conditioned to see our bodies as flawed forms of life, is what's taught to our young people. And in our flaws, we need something outside of ourselves to succeed in life and to be the best version of ourselves. And those things are available. We all use them from time to time. But ultimately, a deeper appreciation for our humanness, maybe a deeper respect for the delicacy as well as the resilience for our bodies, and maybe the opportunity to think a little bit differently about how we care for our bodies, how we care for what our ancestors literally called the temple of our bodies that contains all of our access to our love, our forgiveness, our imagination, our creativity, our innovation. So it's an opportunity to, and the science gives us the reason to think differently when our heart calls to us to have those thoughts. The heart says, you're more than you've been led to believe, but we need something to hang that on. And the science, this is where I think the science can be really useful, Steve. It gives us the reasons in our mind to follow what we know is true in our hearts and then to live that in our lives.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, we don't need to look outside of ourselves as with the technology and AI. Here you're going through the inventory of when we look within, what is there, which is, and it's all science-based, which is just mind-blowing.
That was where we're supposed to end because they just gave us an excerpt. And this is one of many, many panels. And I'll show you guys kind of the list of all the different panels a little bit later on in the show. But take a look at all the incredible people that are part of this upcoming summit, which we're celebrating tonight, the Art and Science of Elevating Consciousness. And of course, they're right at the top is Omar Shah.
Yeah.
In the beginning was Omar Shah, and it was good. And right next to Omar Shah is Greg Braden, and then Susan Geisman, Anna Dea Judith, and then, my God, look at all the amazing people. So many of our favorite people are part of this Global Oneness Summit. And you're going to be hearing from a lot of them tonight, of course. So I asked people to put into the chat box their thoughts, both about Greg Braden, obviously, who just touches all of our hearts and minds with his wisdom, but also about some of your awakening experiences. And I'm really appreciating all the wonderful things that people have put in there. So I'm just going to read a few, but I want to acknowledge, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, George. Thank you, Reverend Jeffrey. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Thank you, Carol Craig, the wild child, back in the day. Ayada. Dr. Kat is with us. Thank you, Kat. Susan Woolridge. All of you put in some really, really wonderful things. So I'm just going to read a couple of them. Reverend Jeffrey writes, as individuals, we must re-educate our minds, realize we have as an ally a presence and a law in which the past, present, and future, and all people, whom we might call living or dead, live and move and have their being forever unfolding. I call that the multidimensional self, Jeffrey. Thank you. Dr. Laura writes, I've been guided to slowly wake up since 1985. Got a big kick in the butt in 1992 with my divorce, and in 1999 found myself alone in the Great Pyramid for a short period of time. And I realized I could not have happened without some kind of intervention. So I've been more and more on the path for many decades. I've known since 1999 that this was a special time of awakening of the earth. I'll read one more. Susan Bloomquist. Oh, no, that one's private, sorry. Ann Baldwin. I discovered that my experimental rats were stressed out in the noisy animal facility, causing inflammation, and found that giving them Reiki daily for 3 weeks. And that's awesome. What lucky rats. And last one I'll read for now. Eleanor Joy writes, one of my awakenings was in San Francisco way back when. I totally ran out of money and did not know what to do, sunk into a dark night of the soul. Then I found the Unity Church and things moved along from thereon, miracles. Many more stories for another day. For Eleanor Joy, it's been a gradual escalator up rather than a big bang event. I think that's true for most of us, Eleanor Joy. I think, as a relationship coach, which is how I make my living, I often tell people, remember that real growth is in inches, not in miles. You go to the gym, you don't go to from 100 pounds to 200 pounds. You go from 100 to 105, and then your arms hurt for a little bit. So, well, Fanny and Vigari are with us, and so I'm really delighted. I'm going to turn it over to them for their first of few songs tonight. Hello, beloveds.
Hello, Scott.
Good to see you. And you're at Vigari's mother's home in Toronto.
That's right.
It's great to have you with us. And what have you got for us tonight?
Well, for our first song, we're going to do a song called Umoja, which actually means unity, and it's also like a call to the younger generation to recognize and acknowledge that we all have a role to play in shaping the world that we want to live in. So, Umoja, unity.
Umoja.
Look around at your surroundings. Now the future's in your hands. Reaching for a better living.
You got the tools at your command. Kudija kudia, kudija kudia, mia mia,
If you're here to be a leader,
mia mia,
are you confident and clear?
mia mia,
For the good of all the people,
mia mia.
we want to see the best of you.
Kudija kudia, kudija kudia, umoja,
Bring my people together.
umoja, we gonna live in unity. Ujima, every problem has a solution. We'll find a way when our love brings us together.
Make your move now.
Prepare your ground,
Find your rhythm.
and you know that the wind will blow.
Let the rain come.
Water for life, let the sun shine. And the seeds that you sow will grow. Kudija kulia, kudija kulia, mia mia,
Through the strength of our connection
mia mia,
and the vision that we share.
mia mia,
In the mix of co-creation,
Wow. I'm going to go to gallery view, everybody. Let's give a big twinkle to Fanny and Vigari. It's so good to hear them again. Have you guys back with us. I just kept the camera on you guys because we love seeing you. And they're going to be back, but I want to remind people that you can find all things Fanny and Vigari at their website, which is starchild.ca. Remember, it's .ca for Canada. Starchild.ca, mystical harp music. And of course, you can get their music on Bandcamp, Awaken 1111. We've talked about that before. I have that album. It's beautiful. And, you know, it's so important to support Omoshar and Fanny and Vigari, and always do it by doing it on Bandcamp, because Bandcamp is the most generous. And thank you, beloveds, for being with us. And you are going to close us out tonight the way that you always do, that kind of putting us to bed music.
Well, bringing you into a space of love and relaxation and consciousness, and as we may remember who we truly are, the loving light and joy, and just like Mr. Greg Braden talks about, now we need to walk the talk and live it up.
Beautiful. Thank you both. Love you so much. So Steve Farrell sent me all these wonderful excerpts from about a dozen of his panels. And one of the excerpts, I looked at, it was hosted by our very own Connie Baxter Marlowe. So I'm going to bring her up. Hey, Connie. Hello, Andrew. Welcome.
Hello, Scott.
Good to see you both.
Hello.
Yeah, it's great to be here. We're thrilled that they chose a clip of our panel. We were just to bring Chief Phil Lane and Greg Campbell from Australia and Dr. Jude Curran and Andrew on the frequency of sacredness and oneness alignment to bring in the indigenous and the science. So we were just thrilled to be honored to be a part of this.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before I show the excerpt? It's an 8.5 minute excerpt. Anything you want to share about kind of when you did this and anything as an introduction?
Well, yeah, I put it together because I wanted to bring together the science and the indigenous, which is what our work is with the trust frequency. And so to bring it into a frequency thing, the shifting frequencies into this oneness, into this trust-based new world that we just were with Rhiannon Skywalker, who talks about that as well. So our whole message is to bring us into universal law, into alignment with universal law, which is what the indigenous people talk about. And the Aboriginals, we just came from Australia with the Aboriginals, and Greg Campbell has spent 30 years with Aboriginals and being told that he should write a book. And he's written a book called Total Reset, which this is what it's going to take for us to get into this space that's being talked about tonight on this show, and that the Global Oneness Summit is all about. So do you want to say anything, Andrew?
I just want to say, Scott, we're standing outside the library in Sedona, Arizona. It just closed. We're looking for a place with some lights, otherwise we'll be in the dark. So we're at this beautiful display behind us is a part of the Sedona Public Library.
Where we used to we used to live in Sedona. We used to present here with indigenous people here in Sedona years ago.
I love that you're in Sedona and that you just connected with my friend Rhiannon Skywalker, who of course was on The Awakening World last Wednesday and was brilliant. So, all right, well, I'm going to show the clip, and thank you for being with us. And here we go. Let's take a look at an excerpt of this wonderful one on the frequency of oneness and sacredness alignment.
Very good.
So, Phil, tell us what you have to bring to this conversation.
Mitakiepi, my very, very, very beloved members of our human family. I want to extend a very warm and loving handshake to each and every one of you as we gather here to explore how we may become so illumined we will enlighten the world. My name was passed on from my father and my great-grandfather and so forth is the name Philip, lover of horses, Lane Jr. And I received the honor as well as carrying hereditary lineage here some years ago. So there's that. And then in terms of my Dakota names, given at 12 by Walter Stronghart, Shante Washte, Stronghart, when I was 12, and then my grandfather, Frank White Buffalo Man, when I began to begin my spiritual journey. One is I am a leader of warriors who takes the enemy's best horses, and I am a sacred black pipe born of thunder, lightning, and rain. And I stand fully responsible before the Creator for my words and my actions. I believe the foundation of this whole understanding is the fact that when we're conceived, at that moment, even photographs show light flashes. At that point, each of us is conceived as sovereignty, ancient and perishable and everlasting. And that is something we need to look deeply at as who we are. We are that. No matter what happens after we're conceived, we continue to be this divine soul. And I want to say this about our souls. We get this out of the way here. From my perspective, the soul has no gender, no ethnicity, no race, no class. Our soul is a reflection of the oneness of our Creator, which makes all forms of prejudice whatsoever completely unacceptable. We are not our earth suits. Our earth suits are simply the vehicle by which we go through this physical world of time and space. That's all. Just like our womb suit was what we made it through in the womb of our mother. And beyond that, what are we doing here? We're in our womb suit. Our point was to grow our physical arms and legs and eyes and ears. That's what it was about. This world's about growing our spiritual arms and legs and eyes and ears. Become more loving, more compassionate, more forgiving, more generous, more brave, courage to be ourselves, who we are. That's what our purpose is here. Why? Because this short life, as we all know, the elders sitting here, it's like Prophet said, life's like the breath of a buffalo on a cold day, or a firefly on a warm summer night, or the shadows vanishing before the setting sun. That's life. It's that quick. How many times I look at the mirror lately and say, how in the world this happened? Seems like just boom, you're there. But that's because we live in an eternal world. We think we're defined in here in this physical world of time and space. Really, it's a shadow. Shadow. You know, we have to go beyond the world of names in the murmur of syllables and sounds. We have to go beyond the space between the thoughts. That's leading into our divinity, our holy, sacred divinity. And when we touch that, we realize we're one human family. And the hurt of one is the hurt of all. And the honor, the healing, the upliftment of one is the honor and healing, upliftment of all. And this timeless space we're in, even though we seem like we're so far and distant away, thankfully this technology we're a little bit closer. Like Black Elk said, the center of the universe is everywhere, everywhere, right inside each of us. And this illusion we're in right now, that's part of our journey, is to free ourselves from this illusion. And I'm sure you know that we have tremendous scientists here. Jude is one, can tell us about the real reality of what it is that we're living in. This little thing that we think that we begin looking down, and what do we have? Practically nothingness, right to that place of nothingness. And yet we in this journey, we can see today, begin to look today, the great prophecies of our indigenous people promise that after this long spiritual wintertime, we would awaken to our true reality. From infancy to childhood to adolescence, finally, we're coming to our spiritual adulthood, not only this Mother Earth, but remember, these spirit electron studies they've done, that means you can go infinitely. And one electron turns, the other one turns. That means there's a connection beyond, way beyond the speed of light. So when we begin just simply grasping this universe by the speed of light, how many light years is from here to there, we're completely missing the picture here in terms of really getting down to the basic, hardcore, fundamental deal. We're interconnected with all life. From the farthest galaxy that has no end, we are part of that. And what's really great, what I understand about the soul, beyond just the fact that we have no gender, race, ethnicity, etc., except in this world right here, where those dualities in a way help form and help develop us spiritually, because this is a world of choice, a world where we choose different things. We choose one path that may be in flow with the divine order. If we flow this way, it might be out of balance. We learn that way. We learn, and one of those fundamental things we learn, first of all, the foundation is justice. Justice is the founding principle, because justice is what has to be at the foundation of oneness. Justice towards all things. Justice, and that's what the new global civilization being built on is justice. And that justice is what unfolds oneness. And when we realize oneness, how in the world can you not understand that the eagle has two wings? One is man, one is woman. So both wings of the eagle have equal power, respect, and honor. The eagle of humanity will never fly as high as, and we are that eagle ourselves. We have all those spiritual qualities. Some cultures call them this feminine, some call it masculine. The fact is we have them all. They're infinite. We have to develop them all. As men, we have really, really done our part to bring us to this point. We've also brought ourselves to the brink of total destruction. So we have to embrace this feminine, divine nature of ourselves. Just as we've got to be able to balance these two, because becoming who we are doesn't mean, but when this spectrum of quote unquote masculine, feminine, doesn't mean in order for the way society shows it, that somebody has to all become masculine, whoever they are, male, female, in order to have some kind of meaning. No, we have to become balanced human beings, balanced in all qualities, to be very kind, gentle, very sensitive. And that's why I really know without question, women know men way, way more than we know ourselves. Way more than we know ourselves. They just don't let you know. They talk all the time. Because same as indigenous people, we had to deal with this oppression for so long. We know the oppressor. We know. We don't tell the oppressor because whatever the oppressor knows, they'll use it against us. But that's changing. We're coming out, just like women are coming out, other oppressed people are coming out, and we're really finding that, the last thing I want to say, that only hurt people hurt people. Only abused people abuse people. Only colonized people colonize people. We're not born that way. Now, there might be some that have, you might say genetic issues, probably to let us know what happens if we don't develop ourselves in this physical world, what can happen to us in the spiritual world. If we don't develop ourselves, if we think we're going to be focused completely on money and materialism in our physical bodies, and then all of a sudden we step into a world where none of that has any relationship whatsoever, then we're in trouble. Wow.
He really knows how to deliver the goods, doesn't he? And of course, there are many other people on that panel of yours, Connie and Andrew. So for everybody to get the full panel, definitely sign up for the Global Oneness Summit. And also on that panel is Jude Curvin and, of course, Connie and Andrew. We are going to see the video later today of Jude Curvin's amazing video on A Radical Guide to Reality. And again, thank you, Connie and Andrew, for everything you do to make it all happen. Thank you.
Wonderful being here with you.
Thanks, Scott.
Absolutely. Anything else? Anything you guys want to share before I move on? Oh, are you guys still with us? Hello, hello. Well, I guess we lost them, so I'm going to go back to me. There's your internet's a little.
Can you hear me? Here we are.
Now we
Can you hear
can.
us?
Yeah, you disappeared there for a bit.
Yeah, well, Phil nailed it. All those aspects of Indigenous knowing, and we brought in the Aboriginal knowing too. That's so similar to the Native knowing. So it's that Indigenous knowing, and we talk about the pan-Indigenousness, us all accessing those parts of ourselves that know this, that know universal law, that know and feel and are connected to all that is. That's where we're headed, and we're just so excited to have these folks on this panel talking about it and giving a pathway to it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, you two. I love you both. And I'm going to go to my co-host, Steve Farrell, for another part of what I recorded with Steve. So here we go. Steve, it's just such a delight having you with us and these wonderful recordings that you provided. I'm curious, in the 20 plus years that you have been doing this, how has your view of our world changed? Are you more optimistic? Are you disappointed that there hasn't been a greater change faster? Obviously, it seems like we're really on the precipice of some hard stuff that's happening. What's your view? How's the Steve Farrell perspective?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, Scott. And I would say it's like a hyperbolic curve that I'm going to talk about, because when we started this in June 2003, 21 years ago, we were framing it as something that's important. Now, we were not necessarily saying it was urgent. Over the years, people have become rich, full in this whole conscious journey thing. I'm sure many viewers, as you look back, my God, even 10 years and certainly 20 years, the blossoming, the growth into this conscious living thing in its fullness. We've come a long way. I mean, we've come a long, long way from the trailhead where we kind of got out of the car and started, so to speak. So that's been one of the beautiful things. And you see that here where we're gathered now, and people sharing in the chat, and you see it in dating, in relationships where you're conscious, and, some, oh my God, moments that are beyond, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. You see it even out in the world, though we're still young. So now the challenges are severe now. This is why it's urgent. And this is why all of us, as we talk, will share, boy, we're in the window. This really is our moment. It's not like we could wait 5 more years to get going here. This is absolutely our moment. And so we're on this hyperbolic curve where we've come a long way. The challenges are massive. And it's really, Barbara Marx Hubbard used to refer to it, and Jean Houston, jump time, that our crisis is a birth, right? We are there now. So it's an important and urgent time. That doesn't mean we walk around sky is falling, because this living consciously is a joyful thing. It's kind of love in our heart. But we're also very aware, we're paying attention, and I think we're all increasingly ready to jump in and play the role that we're supposed to play. And I think, Scott, in the next 12 months, we will see things that will be astounding, in terms of things that we can participate in that help support the elevation of consciousness throughout the planet, creating this journey to this delicious way of living, and creating a journey to a sustainable planet. Because as we know, the Earth, which is a part of this oneness, it's not just humanity, as we know. The oneness, there is no separation between creator and created, right? No, so that means everything is in the one, right? So, and this is a part of what this journey is, where we're saying we need to really care for this planet. We need to steward this planet. We are not now, in an adequate way. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it, Scott.
Has there been any particular, of all the presenters, all the amazing people, is there any one particular one that has personally impacted you the most?
Well, I will say, what a treasure of riches.
Yeah.
As you know, I mean, you even were saying, we just sent you, we said, oh, well, let's just send Scott a few clips. And you're like, oh, gee, we can't get all these clips on the air. We need to. And those were just a few of the clips. This is our biggest Global Oneness Summit ever. It's 6 days. That's just all day long, amazing and extraordinary. So let me just give you like a little thimbleful of names, because literally, I think there's It's more than 150, you know.
While you do that, I'm going to bring up this is from your Global Oneness Summit, and look at all of these wonderful people. And as I'm looking at all the people here, just about all of them have been on the Awakening World, and some of them are regular co-hosts, like Rev Deb Moldau, Kristen Hoffman, Ben Bowler. You know, these are all Alan Steinfeld, Jennifer Hill. They're all people that regularly are co-hosts on the show. So you really have an incredible group of people here.
Yeah, thank you. You know, and some people, so some of them are well known, you know, Neil Donald Walsh, Greg Braden, Jude Currivan, Shamani Jane, Chief Phil Lane Jr., Howard Martin, Deborah Rosman, Stephen M. R. Covey, Suzanne Giesman, Lisa Barnett, Tricia McCannon, Raymond Moody, Ken Honda, Sage and Serena Dyer. Those are Wayne Dyer's two youngest daughters, Urban Lasso. Some are new, and I know you've got them in clips. So boy, Aja Duravan, wow. Wait till you see, pay attention to this clip. Amazing. This woman is coming. She runs the Global Peace Tribe nonprofit. You will really enjoy this clip. I know you're playing it, Scott. Other people that are new, Jennifer Drowlin. So she is in Thailand. She was in the Miss Universe pageant in 2019 and was in the top 5.
Wow.
So and she talks about her conscious journey. I mean, isn't that cool? Somebody in
very cool
in a beauty pageant like that. And her thing is so beautiful. She tells her story where she says, I was a nerd. Nobody would date me in high school. And I'm saying, what? And she says, yeah, no, it's true. And she says, I love helping people because there's so many people that have a self-image that's just so small, you know, and that feel that they really aren't empowered and they can't get out, and others will be able to do this journey thing, but they won't. They're not there yet. And her whole thing is just helping everybody sort of break out of that shell and embrace the fullness of who they are and become self-empowered and go out in the world. She tells that story during the Global Oneness Summit, which is fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're going to watch some more clips, and we will be back with Steve Farrell in a little bit. It is really amazing. I was noticing some of the comments coming in the chat box about just how many summits are happening and how this all is expanding in such beautiful, beautiful ways. And it really is true. I think that we're not just watching the 3 networks or now all the different streaming platforms. And listen, I think there's some great stuff on Netflix and on Apple TV and on Amazon. You know, I'm not a snob. I think there's some great stuff. There's stuff I watch. But overall, just the amount of content, of consciousness, and the more that we watch Greg Braden and all the different people you see on the Global Oneness Summit, all the people you see on the Awakening World, the more it helps us to recognize that there really is an extraordinary change taking place on our planet. And it is the 100th monkey or the 4-minute mile, you know, whatever analogy you want to use. The more that we tune in to higher consciousness, the more we remember who we truly are, the more that we wake up. And this is a moment that I want to invite all the people watching, a lot of people watching on Facebook right now, and all of our broadcast partners. Welcome. Thanks for being with us. Thank you to John and Summer Raymer, who put us out to so many of our Facebook groups and pages. And I want to invite you to come join us. Come join the Global Peace Tribe. It's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, just like what's behind me, globalpeacetribe.com. When you go there, you can learn all about us. You'll see all of our upcoming shows, all that's going to be going on. And click where it says register for the new season. You can also watch us on YouTube, by the way. So I appreciate it. I know a lot of people do that. But really, join us. Register for the new season. You just click right there, show constant contact that you're human, and it'll take you to our registration page. And you can come in at lots of different levels. But the key is that it gets you the Zoom room links to all of our shows. We do 2 or 3 shows every week, always Wednesday and Saturday nights. Once a month, we do a Sacred Sunday show, and lots of times we're doing special events. We've got a big one coming up with Potts and Antoinette in November, for example, and also our retreat in Sedona. So join the Global Peace Tribe. Plus, honestly, we need the support. We need to keep growing. So thank you to all of you in the Zoom room right now, all of you who have joined and subscribed again. The season just began October 1st and goes all the way through the end of the year. So please do join us. I also want to, again, thank everybody who has helped to support our dear friend, Darina Joy, who, again, most of you know the story, but just to repeat it, Darina Joy is a regular on The Awakening World. She's been part of our family going back to the beginning. And her father recently passed away. She flew to Bulgaria to take care of things for him. And while in Bulgaria, she got very ill. She got pneumonia. And then she got word that her home in Ecuador burned down. So this is the GoFundMe that I started for her. Here are some of the pictures of the fire and what happened to her home. I want to thank all of you who have donated. So many people that are in the Zoom room right now that I recognize that have donated. We still have a lot more money to raise for her. She definitely needs our support. So in a moment, I'm going to go into a moment of prayer for Darina Joy, but also a reminder to please, please, please support her financially. And I'm going to put the link into the chat box here. And for anybody watching on Facebook, if you just go to GoFundMe and put in Darina Joy, it'll come right up for you. I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment and invite us all just to have a minute of silence, sending our love and maximum grace to our soul sister, Darina Joy. Maximum grace for Darina Joy. And while we're in this beautiful prayer, maximum grace for all the people in Asheville and the South who have been impacted by the hurricanes. Maximum grace. Maximum grace for what's going on in the Middle East. May there be peace. And we find a way to peace. Maximum grace for Ukraine. Maximum grace for all people who are suffering. May we take our gratitude for how privileged we are, how blessed we are. And with that gratitude, send love out to the world. One of the great ways to send love out to the world is through music. And nobody does it better than Amishar. And take it away, brother.
The open roads of this brand new start, the peace that flows through this loving heart, 'cause freedom comes with letting go. Life renewed, new seeds to sow. Take my hand, I'm with you now. Relax yourself, your furrowed brow. The past is gone, so say hello. No looking back, onward we go. This is the life awaiting us, with family supporting us. The sword of truth has cleared the way for us to rise our brand new day. New mountain peaks for us to climb, new roads to walk, no reason why. It's time to smile and be as one, with all of life a golden sun. This is the life awaiting us, with family supporting us. The sword of truth has cleared the way for us to rise our brand new day. Cause freedom comes with letting go. There's life renewed, new seeds to sow.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, beloved Omar Shah. Freedom comes with letting go. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I want to acknowledge we celebrated on Wednesday, but for those of you who missed it, it is the 80th birthday week for our beloved friend Lynn, who, of course, has been dancing up a storm. I hope you've had a wonderful birthday week, Lynn. And I'm eager to celebrate the next 80 years with you. Congratulations on 80 years young and being such a beloved and precious part of our Global Peace Tribe. Thank you so much. We love you. All right. Well, get ready because this next video is extraordinary. It's called A Radical Guide to Reality, created by the amazing Jude Curvin, whose voice is so beautiful and whose wisdom is extraordinary. And I know some of you may have seen it already, but it's a very, very powerful, powerful video. So get ready to get a 15-minute dose of a radical guide to reality, written by, created, produced by Jude Curvan.
Everything breathes. People breathe. Plants breathe. Planets breathe. Our whole universe breathes. Our universe began to breathe nearly 14 billion years ago. Instead of the implied chaos of a Big Bang, it began as the first moment of a wonderfully fine-tuned, beautifully ordered, and ongoing big breath. Like a baby, it was born as simple as possible to be able to grow and vitally to evolve. As its big breath continued, with space expanding from its minuscule birth and time flowing from past to present to future, its evolutionary journey from simplicity to complexity and ever greater levels of diversity and self-awareness led from hydrogen and helium to stars and galaxies, and eventually to planets and plants and people. The hydrogen in the water of our bodies and in the waters of our planetary home Gaia is only a few minutes younger than our universe. All else that makes up us and Gaia was created in stars billions of years ago. Our story is the story of our universe. Yet what really is the reality of our universe? And who really are we? Instead of a story of separation, scientific breakthroughs are now discovering and converging with indigenous and other wisdom teachings to reveal that our entire universe exists and evolves as a wholly unified entity, with everything interrelated and interdependent with everything else. Despite its appearance of solidity, though, physical reality, while real, is actually 99.999999999% no thingness, and its material appearance isn't its deeper nature. Evidence at all scales is discovering that its energy and matter and space and time are its appearance, not its deeper nature. Showing that its appearance emerges from more fundamental and non-physical levels of cosmic intelligence and causation. Underlying causation and all-pervasive cosmic intelligence that, expressing itself as information, is the fundamental substance of our universe. Information, though, that isn't expressed as random data, but vitally as meaningful information that literally informs all we call reality. Meaningful information that's expressed in complementary ways as the energy and matter, space and time appearance of our universe. And as we are learning from the study of black holes, our entire universe is a vast cosmic hologram. Its wholeness existing and evolving in the interdependent complexity of its informed and diverse parts. The alphabet of its informational language is the simplest possible, with only 2 letters, 1 and 0. Just as in our digitized technologies, they're combined meaningfully to inform and make up all we call reality, from hydrogen to stars to planets and plants and people. Like our digitized technologies and holograms, universal digitized information is pixelated. The scale of our universe's pixelation, though, is more than 1 trillion times smaller than our best high-definition technologies. As small as to the size of an atom is to our entire universe. Named after Max Planck, one of the greatest pioneers of quantum theory, from the minute pixelated Planck scale, the holographic appearance of our universe arises. The relational and dynamic informational patterns and processes of its wholeness are being discovered at all scales of existence, from atoms to planets to vast clusters of galaxies, to all of space and time. And through many fields of research, from physics, chemistry, biology, and planetary sciences, to studies of collective human behaviors, all with their complex appearances underpinned by so-named holotropic attractor patterns of information. Instead of a great object, our universe is being revealed as a great informational and finite thought in the infinite and eternal mind of the cosmos. We don't have mind and consciousness. We and the whole world are mind and consciousness. While we are each unique, we are inseparable from each other, our planetary home, and our entire universe. And we are each microcosmic co-creators of its magnificence and evolutionary impulse. We are family members of its vast communities of life. This is who we really are. Our unified, conscious, and essentially living universe not only meaningfully exists, but purposefully evolves. Its emergence not random, but continually and informationally guided. By around 5.5 billion years ago, interstellar clouds of molecular hydrogen, stardust, and ice had evolved to provide all the complex combinations of elements to birth planetary systems and enable biological life to emerge. The shockwaves from the explosion of a nearby star then cause such a cloud to gravitationally collapse, not in chaos, but into a protoplanetary disk, whose harmonically resonant orbits of its emerging planets surrounding a central protostar would further evolve to form our Sun and solar system. Vitally for us, Gaia's place in our planetary family is perfect. In the habitable zone, not too hot and not too cold, but just right. And as a water planet, to become a home for the evolution of biological organisms. Gaia's sentience is, however, embodied not only in her biological organisms, but also throughout her planetary rocks and minerals, waters and atmosphere that form an interdependent Gaiosphere that has nurtured the continuing emergence of complexity for over 4 billion years. From the very beginning, unchanged ever since, and the same throughout all Gaia's biosphere, the DNA and RNA genetic code has informationally enabled their intricate evolution from the simplest cells to the most complex ecosystems. Crucially, informational DNA is not passive, but responsive to signals, and so able to communicate and express its genes in different ways, with biological evolution driven not by random mutations, but by proactive and beneficial responses and adaptations. Meaningful informational processes guide emergence, and with collaborative relationships of organisms, ecosystems, and the entire Gaiosphere, enabling not only gradual change, but sometimes radical and rapid transformation. Yet we've forgotten that we're inseparable from each other, Gaia, and our whole universe. As a result, we've come to a tipping point as a species and as a planet. To evolve to greater complexity, organisms throughout Gaia's long story have learned to cooperate. To survive and thrive, we can't go on behaving as we have been. We can learn to come together to be a planetary species and stewards of our planetary home as Gaians. This is our moment of choice. Based on the evidence we now have, to remember that we're inseparable. And realize too that our own conscious evolution can play a vital role in Gaia's own evolutionary progress and purpose.
This is who we can remember we really are. This is who we can evolve to become.
You can get this by going to www.aleftrust.org is for those of you who want to show it to other friends. And isn't that just gorgeous? It is so beautifully, beautifully done. I'm going to read a few of the comments that have come in. Susan Bloomquist writes, I like how she weaves scientific concepts into real events. Dr. Laura writes, wow, this is so beautiful. But what about the galactic seeding of some of the botanical garden called Earth and in our own bodies? Yeah, I noticed that Greg Braden also kind of alluded to that a little bit briefly, but didn't go down that rabbit hole. Reverend Jeffrey says, such a beautiful video. I love it deeply. I mean, Reverend Jeffrey, this is what you've been saying and talking about. Those are the comments that have come in so far. Regarding the retreat in Sedona, I'm still trying to pull it all together, so bear with me. I know I'm keep saying that, but we will get to it. And if there are any other thoughts, comments, let me know. Put that in the chat box. We are winding down. We've got one more video that's really, really fun. You might remember that Steve talked about Aja and Karuna. Now you have seen Karuna on the show. She's been on, she was on like 2 weeks in a row. She's part of the Founding Mothers movement. And she does an interview with this wonderful woman, Aja. So I'm going to play that video now.
Hello, my name is Karuna, and I'm so delighted to introduce you to Aja Donovan. I understand you work at an intersection of art and science with a specialization on creating avatars for global transformation. Can you explain what an avatar is and how you use them in your work, please?
Yes, of course. Well, avatars are one of my favorite things to talk about. Maybe it's good to define what an avatar is for those who don't know.
Please.
So an avatar has, it's been seen these days in modern times, mostly on the internet, games or Facebook or on your cell phone, where you create an image of yourself or a version of yourself that you express in the digital world. But before the digital world, there was an ancient idea of avatars, of divine spirits coming into being in order to serve and help all sentient beings be free of suffering and,
Like ascended masters.
Exactly. I believe that the avatars that I'm creating have that divine energy just because of the way that they're created. I started creating these avatars by bringing toys and stuffed animals to 5 different continents and exploring how different cultures play and how they use storytelling for social change. And the way I did that is passing these toys around. People would choose the one that they resonate with the most, and then you pass it around the community, and everyone contributes to the story or the purpose. And typically, the story or the purpose is related to that community. So if it's a homeless community, it's the struggles they're dealing with. It's the types of homes they'd like to live in. It's sustainable housing, whatever it may be that's kind of related to that topic. And usually it's aligned with something the community is struggling with, or something they want to communicate, or something that can be of benefit to them and or the greater world. I've created over 55 different avatars with different communities all over the world. Some of them are more spontaneous, and some of them go through the kind of laborious research process of literally interviewing dozens of people in order to kind of have the story emerge. Smokey the Bear is for forest fires. We all know him in the US. Each of these avatars is similarly branded, but for other topics. So it could be homelessness, it could be women's empowerment, it could be animal welfare. There are so many different characters, just like there are humans in the world. There could be that many avatars in this imaginary world I've created called Presentville. But they're just a tool to deliver stories. So 3 of my favorites.
Wait a minute, Presentville?
Yeah.
Okay, Presentville has how many residents?
Currently, we're up over 50 plus residents in Presentville, which are all these different avatars that have come to life through this community storytelling technique.
I love this already. I want to live in Pleasantville.
Me too. And you do. When you are fully present, you are in this moment, and that's how you access Presentville. So it is an imaginary world, but it also bridges this world.
You have a nonprofit, correct?
Yeah. Global Peace Train isn't just a nonprofit organization in the real world where we deliver, needed resources to people all over the world, but it's also a vehicle that brings these avatars to and from the imaginary world of Presentville. And it's a really, it's a really special train because not only does it have the light side, it also has the dark side. We hand painted a toy train. It's made out of wood. And on one side, it has all the representations of what, lightness in this world is. And then on the other side, it's all what darkness in this world is. And so it depends on which way the train is going and which door you board, where you might end up and what you might experience.
Amazing. Do you have to have a qualification to get on this train or a budget or
a desire to show up and help the world? That's what the Global Peace Train is about. It's about bringing peace to the world, peace to ourselves, and really finding a way to live in harmony with nature and with each other.
This is a magical place. A place where we start to change the world. Where hearts open. Where we become who we were born to be. This is Presentville. Here you'll find the tools you need to help achieve the dreams you've been dreaming. Here the habits and patterns you've been locked into break free. In Presentville, all the magic of childhood becomes real again. Toys come to life and help us remember who we are and awaken our highest potential. On your travels, you'll meet friends who all have important gifts to give through their stories, just like you. Once you've traveled the path into Presentville, it's time for you to bring your own gifts to the world by boarding the Global Peace Train. You become a resident of Presentville, a character with a story to share, with gifts to give, and the ability to work on fixing real-world problems around the globe. You can join an existing Global Peace Train project or even make your own. No matter how you choose, you'll help us transform the world aboard the train. This is a magical place, a place where we begin to change the world. We're ready for you.
Can you speak about 3 avatars you have been working with this year?
The avatars that I've been working with the most in the real world this year are the Weeping Woman, the Eagle Avatar, and Rainbow Sparkle Pants. And the Weeping Woman's a great place to start. She's played by many different characters, many different humans actually embody her in costume. We've handmade a costume and they become her in full costume, and then they wear the face paint. And it doesn't matter which woman plays her, you can really feel that character coming through the art form of that person. And then we film and make a documentary about it. It really is healing for the women who play the Weeping Woman because we are so often taught that those emotions are bad and should be hidden. And so the Weeping Woman is a way to express those emotions in a healthy and artistic way that can help benefit more than just your small circle. It can go out into the world and teach others.
You spoke about how we could also work with our own avatars and how they would transform us into healing the pains that we're carrying towards each other and towards ourselves, mostly ourselves, and how we can dress ourselves in, say, the Weeping Woman and avatar and act that out so we can be responsible for ourselves. Can you speak a little bit about that?
I love using the avatars for personal development because they give us an opportunity to play any character that we want, and they also allow us an opportunity to be anonymous, so we can hold a different truth. And the Weeping Woman is a great example. The original Weeping Woman idea has been used through different cultures as well. So La Llorona is from Mexico. And she's actually more of a horror character from that culture. But in this context, we've transformed that, saying, you know, maybe her message was a little misunderstood. As women, we all have connection to sadness and our own anger and these kind of emotions that are inherently human. And through that expression of sadness or frustration or anger, we can point out the things in the world that we may be unhappy about. We can also look at ourselves and see where we have to grow. And so we invite people to become these avatars, like the Weeping Woman, and wear the costume and wear the face paint and contribute to the community story. It's a really fun way to express a different part of yourself and find a healthy way to express some of those emotions and some of those feelings that often are shamed in our society, you know?
A lot. A lot. And then we become competitive and resentful and blame. So we spoke about meditation. And you use some sort of technique with your meditation. Can you share that?
I have studied a lot of different forms of meditation, and they've all been valuable for different kind of layers, peeling back the layers of who I am and helping me really become more present. Of course, I bring in the avatars into that, and in this context, it's the giraffe.
Okay.
She,
the giraffe, tall neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can see beyond and above where all the other creatures can, right? Because the view is vast. And in reality, the giraffe is an endangered species. It's a creature that, you know, may not live forever. Meditation is such an important part of the human experience where we can become more present, become more grounded, help grow our own compassion for ourselves, for others, for the world. You know, and many traditions have this idea of like benefiting all beings. And, you know, that is, I think, inherently the vision of Presentville is that all of these avatars are here to help teach us, help us grow. The avatars are great at connecting with children and also adults.
I'm going to stop it there because there's actually another 30 minutes. But you can learn all about it by going to the Global Peace Train with the Global Peace Tribe, globalpeacetrain.org. And what a really cool thing she's doing. And I'm going to definitely make sure that I book her to be on our show for sure. You asked about Neale Donald Walsch. Well, they sent me so many segments that I realized we've already run out of time pretty much. So this Wednesday night on The Awakening World, we're going to do a combination of talking about Global Disclosure Day with Ellen Steinfeld and Danny Sheehan. And I'm going to show some more segments, including the segments with Neale Donald Walsch. So that's going to be the show this Wednesday night because we're almost out of time. And we still have a little bit more to hear from Steve Farrell, and we're going to close out with a Fanny and Vigari song. But here is the kind of final segment with my co-host by pre-record, Steve, to share some important information for you all. So we've just gotten an amazing little microdose of all that is in Steve's and Humanity Team's amazing Global Oneness Summit and in their entire streaming service. So we are now going to talk to Steve and find out how we can participate in the upcoming 6-day summit, and then also how you can become part of Humanity's team. So Steve, how do we do that?
Fantastic. Let me share screen here. And then we're going to go, we're just going to go take a look at these sites here. Okay, so here is the, and thank you for the questions here, Scott, much appreciated. So this is the Global Oneness Summit site. As you can see, you go to humanitiesteam.org/global/oneness/summit. Okay, so, or you can just Google Global Oneness Summit and there's a whole lot out there. You're going to come right to the site. So you can see here, so they've got 6 of the speakers right at the top, but then you come down and here we see these other speakers that we shared just a moment ago. And this is a very partial list. So this is kind of where you sign up. It's as simple as just name and email address and reserve my spot, boom, and you're in, and that launches you on your way. Now, notice that the navigation's right here. So I want to also just click on the second one over. This is the summit schedule. And here's where we see the whole breakdown of the schedule. So from Saturday, where we start with Shout Out Love, isn't that cool? A 30-minute Shout Out Love program where we do that. We open our windows and it's a 30-minute program and we're shouting, like Horton Hears the Who. Remember that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, love, right. So that's how we started. And then we go right into the science-backed future with Gregg Braden, where he brings the science of this conscious living thing in the most extraordinary way. Oh my gosh, you're gonna.
Well, we just watched that, Steve. We just watched
a segment there, right? And then with Neil Donald Walsh, Suzanne Giesemann, this our common sentient spiritual communication. I'm not going to try and read all of these. I'm going to just instead scroll it very slowly.
Amazing.
So watch this. We've got these live movies at the end of the day. So this one, which is called Yogis of Ukraine. Oh my God. We know what's going on in the Ukraine. This is an extraordinary movie. While the war is going on, of yoga training that's going on over there, and what they're all channeling, which is this whole "we are all one" thing. It's extraordinary. So we're going to show that. You can see Ken Honda here. Here's this woman that I referenced, Junifer Drowan, who was in the Miss Universe pageant. Here are these other programs that are coming in. Out of the blue, another fantastic, wait till you watch this one. This is a live program that's going on Sunday night. Again, I'm going to just sort of slowly scroll this. It's extraordinary. It's a treasure chest. Be sure to take this in, watch as much as you can. And then, of course, we've got if you're part of the Humanity Stream subscription, this is a free upgrade. So the entire 6 days is free for you, which is really kind of cool because you're going to want to come back and listen to these.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Really extraordinary. So, and you can keep scrolling. That's why I say treasure chest. God, look, there's a lot here.
It's incredible.
Now, Humanity Stream. Okay, I mentioned here, we talked about this, what we've become, the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising, masterclasses, and transformational education. So you go to humanitystream.org, you can see right up here, or humanitystream.net, and that'll bring you right into the streaming platform. This is really cool. So you can just scroll it and see these categories: science, consciousness, and mediumship, transformation and empowerment, healing and wellness, leadership and business. And then you can see, if you like science, the key programs here, consciousness and mediumship. So this is why, look at this library, it's extraordinary. We're bringing on a new program every week. Okay, now, by contrast, most people have heard of masterclass.com. That's not really just a consciousness streaming platform, but they create a new program a month. Okay, we have a new program a week.
Wow.
So look at this, just extraordinary. You can scroll it. It's $2.99 a year or $29.99 a month, and you get the hundreds of programs. And the cool thing, Scott, is I'll stop sharing screen here. That we all like the mindless stuff, a little bit of Netflix or Amazon Prime. But hey, why not? At least once a week, come in here, scroll it. The embodied practices are unreal. We've talked about science and mediumship, conscious leadership and business and stuff. Once a week, just come in and start through a program. I promise you, if you do that, you will continue to do it because it's a delicious experience. And it's not just the mindless thing of watching, far too often, as we know, guns and violence. And, yes, the good guys often win at the end, but we've got to endure 2 hours of this back and forth. Our programs are not like that. Our programs are what Global Peace Tribe is about. humanity.
Yeah, and our audience does a lot more than 1 hour a week. Our audience does several hours a day of content programming. I mean, I've learned that most of the people who are watching, they go to whatever Unity Earth is doing, or whatever you're doing, or whatever the different people we introduce them to are doing. So, we're all filling ourselves with several hours a day of consciousness raising, inspiring presentations, and good music, of course, which is a big part of Awakening World.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so important for us to keep ourselves inspired and to keep raising our vibration. Many of the great masters say that sacred activism is wonderful, but raising our own consciousness is always the best thing we can do for the future of the planet.
Absolutely. It's an inside out job. Yeah. If we're just vocal cords, if we're not living it ourselves, and vocal cords aren't very powerful, it's kind of here and gone. However, where there's a sense of, oh my gosh, there's something going on here, that's a little more than just logic center of the mind. There's something of more heartful, maybe a sense of love and service, that's where we pay attention and we say, I want that, right? And that's all of us have done that. And most of us have that. So we're on that journey of just bringing more and more of that into our life.
Steve, thank you so much for who you are. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. Thank you for generously sharing all these wonderful videos. And I know I'm looking forward to catching lots of the summit. And I know that our audience will as well. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in person again. We were together in Sedona at the Evolutionary Leaders Network event. And hopefully I'll see you in Santa Barbara in May.
That was wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. And then we have our May 8 to 10. We're just right behind the program in Santa Barbara, which is the prior weekend. We're up against Mother's Day is the 11th, Sunday the 11th. And so we go the 8th to the 10th. Because our whole program is when we talk about elevating consciousness, of course, that's the divine feminine, right? That's coming in big and strong. So we wanted to be right there with Mother's Day for our 3-day conference. So come out to Fort Collins and be with us for Sacred Awakening Live in Fort Collins, Colorado. Join us for that, Scott.
Well, you know what we should do? Let's do a show together in like March, a couple months beforehand. So people can know about what you're doing in Fort Collins and make plans to be there, or even in February, so people have to plan it.
That'd be terrific. Sacred Awakening Live. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. God bless you, Steve. Congratulations. You're going to have a fantastic summit, and I'm glad that we're going to be able to participate and be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Love and peace and blessings to all of the viewers. Scott, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care, my friend. There you have it. So that's something to look forward to. Fort Collins, May 10th through 12th. Will be in Omichar country, Colorado country. So lots always going on. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. And we will show more segments on Wednesday night. And thank you, everybody, for all the comments. Thanks for being with us. And thank you for joining the Global Peace Tribe. Thank you for supporting us. And to close us out, to put us into a really nice, beautiful, mellow place as only they can, I'm going to turn it over to beloveds Fanny and Vigari.
Thank you so much. Peace and love and harmony, gratefulness. What a beautiful place to be with you all.
Thankfulness, gratitude, appreciation for our place in this marvelous universe. Acknowledging the important part that each and every one of us plays in the whole progression of life, of existence.
this voice I hear through deep space and time. This voice is intrinsic. It unites the soul as one. One into the love, one into the light. From the source of all things, you spring into life. Here you are. Remember where you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember. This voice deepens my senses, my joy, my awareness. This light becomes blissfulness, mindfulness. Flame of the one consciousness. Like a blessing to the world. You came into life. Here you are, here you are, here you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember. At the end of the rainbow, there is a pot of golden treasure your heart beholds. The treasure of your heart is gold. Gold at the end of the rain.
Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. You got gold dust, gold light. Pure love, pure light. Remember. Pure love, pure light is truly who you are. Remember, the source of light, blessing in the world you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember. Remember, blessing to the world, spring to Remember? Remember? Remember?
Thank you for helping us to remember who we are. I'm going to go to gallery view. Let's all give a big twinkle and lots of love to Fanny and Vigari. Isn't it wonderful to have them back with us again?
Thank you.
They are truly family. And I did post in the chat box the latest from Darina Joy. She's still in Bulgaria. She's going to need to be there for quite a while because the road to her home in Ecuador is not even open. Fanny and Vigari are fantastic. And I put in the chat box, put a reminder that you can find them if you want to book them or buy their music. Go to starchild.ca, starchild.ca, and definitely get their music. Go to Bandcamp. And we love them very much. And hopefully you guys will be back with us again soon.
Anytime.
Yes, it's always very special to be here with you guys.
Especially in these times.
Yeah, we are family. We are definitely Global Peace Tribe family. And Omashar, thank you so much for all that you do to make this happen.
What a beautiful evening.
A beautiful evening, and wishing everybody a wonderful sacred Sunday tomorrow. Remember, we can make any moment sacred just by choosing to see the divine in all. And I hope to see all of you on Wednesday night. Oh, I also wanted to mention our friend Dr. Kat is starting a program on Sunday morning, which I've signed up for. I'm going to participate in it. I sent it out in the email, the details on it. But if any of you are interested, there was a question. It's optional whether or not you want to actually donate. And I'm going to put the details into the chat box one more time. If you want to attend, but don't have the money, just tell Dr. Kat when you sign up that you are part of the Global Peace Tribe. Thank you very much, Dr. Kat. Or you can choose to donate to it. But it's going to be tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I will be there from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dr. Kat's morning spiritual meditation. It'll be interesting to see what she creates, but I think she's a pretty cool person. So I think it'll be a wonderful morning. So maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow morning.
Pacific time.
Yes, 8 a.m. Pacific time. I'm so California centric. I apologize for that. 11 a.m. for you guys in Toronto, and 9 a.m. for Omar Shar in Colorado.
Right.
Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Good night.